Okay, no lies, no AI, no changing outfits to let you think I was recording at another date. This is the second video I'm recording today. I may record another one or not if it's too late. But anyway, I'm in the same outfit as last week because I'm recording this back to back. So hello everyone, welcome or welcome back to my very small place on the internet where I talk about my knitting life, my knitting adventures. My name is Isabelle, I am in France in Normandy, and today this is the second video I am recording, and I'm not going to pretend that I did that at another time. I could have changed my lipsticks and changed my earrings and stuff like that. No. I'm recording back to back and I'm honest about it. And I decided to record the video. I was pondering in my last recording, do I record this one or that one or whatever, because there are many things I want to be talking about. In these days of uncertainty and fear, I want to be talking about who am I knitting with, who is soothing my mind, who is keeping me occupied, who is keeping me interested while I knit, and maybe give you an opportunity to discover new artists, new series. One is not new and one is very, very famous, so I'm not sure you're going to be discovering it. A podcast, a real podcast, audio podcast about stories and stuff. So if finding new knitting companions to be knitting with or crocheting with or crafting with is of any interest to you, please stay tuned. Okay, first, what am I wearing? Same thing as last week, which was a couple hours ago for me. It's my Missoni accomplished. I will link the video down below where I talk about that a bit in more details. My Missoni accomplished by Espace Tricot before the previous Espace Tricot when it was a free pattern. And I knit it with Roma Finoul. And my Yara by Natasha Hornby that I knit in Holzgarn Super Soft. All of them except the white ones, which are here. The white ones are tight. So it's tight. So two very light knits for now because the weather has been becoming a bit warmer lately, and my heavier knits, I want to be going to these lighter ones, and this is what I'm going today. But as I was saying, it's very convenient to have a sweater and a shawl, because whenever you're cold you can wrap you up in the shawl. Whenever it's a bit warm you can remove the shawl and still not be too warm in the sweater. The perfect combo. Okay, the video I have been wanting to record for a very long time, months. I was already thinking about that before Christmas, and then life happens and things happen and the world is changing very rapidly, and they were more important to me as I thought things I wanted to be talking about, and you kind of like them. And I have other subjects in the same kind of series of what we are doing with our digital life as knitters and how we can adjust or change and resist to how the world is changing. Anyway, all of this raises anxiety among a lot of us and in me. And I need my knitting to focus back on myself, to focus back on what I am doing, not to ignore what's happening. It's not the question of, burying ourselves in the sand and ignoring what's happening. No, but from time to time, we need some periods or some time frame where we can focus on ourselves, on our inner happiness, and do things that soothe our souls out. Crafting is one of them, and listening to the music is another one, at least for me. So this series is Who Am I Knitting With? And I want to be talking about 3 music artists that have been on heavy rotations for different reasons, a series and a podcast. And I will add a book at the end. Not that I am knitting while I'm reading. I can't do that in particular if I'm working on my colorwork sweater for now. But this book has been recommended to me by one of you, Caroline, who is in Germany, and I could borrow it. I borrow a digital version at my local library for free, or my membership is free, and I can borrow books and CDs, but they don't have a very large choice. So they don't have a very extensive choice in CD and music. So I did explore that, and it's not for me. But books, and I've been reading a lot of books that I have been borrowing, and this one I could get a physical copy if I was going to the bigger library in the bigger city that is next to me, but I could borrow it, the digital version of it online. So this is what I'm reading right now. So okay, let's start with music, and we will have 2 artists that are a bit more, I think, difficult to listen to. Not difficult, but it's not a happy and flowing music like the one I'm going to be talking about. So the first one is Skin Shape. I did buy a lot of his CDs, all the ones I could buy. And Skin Shape is a musician from the UK. He is making happy, easy to listen to music, very well made, and it's an electronica music type of artist. And some of his albums have some kind of accent from the 60s and the 70s rock music or easy listening music that we were having at the time. And I really love them. I like a lot this one, Craterellus, Reformis, whatever the title is on this one. I like this one a lot. This one is his last one, and I have several of them. I have to say, I don't like, yes, that's him. I don't like all of his albums, and he has several, or at least 1 or 2 in the Caribbean music, and I don't think they are as good to my ears as these ones. But whenever I want to knit away from anything heavy, I do listen to him at the moment, and it's on my heavy rotation mix at the moment too. And I have them in my library, also my Apple Music library. This is what I'm listening to on when I listen on a digital format. So either I play the CDs or I listen to it on my digital devices. And when I'm doing that, I put the first album and I say read everything, and there is a lot, he's done a lot of things, and there is a lot of listening time, and it's a quality listening time because I think his music is very well made. It's easy and happy music. I don't think it is easily made, and what appears to be easy is not easy to make, I think. And this one is giving me much, much, much joy. I also like a lot this one, which is Philoxeny. I'm not sure how you say that. Anyway, Go have a listen for yourself. And I'm sure if you like some lighter vibes, if you like the 60s and 70s vibes, he will most probably fit your fit your needs and fill your whatever basket or bill or whatever you say. I don't recall. And I do enjoy a lot what he's making. And I have to say that him and the next one, and I'm also going to be linking down below, I discovered listening to Laurent Garnier. Laurent Garnier is a French DJ. He's one of the first ones in France, at least. He started with house and trance music whenever all of that started in the 80s, at the beginning of the 80s. He went to Detroit. He went to okay, just as I was looking for it, it all came back to me. Yes, he went to the Hacienda in Manchester. He went to Detroit. He went to London, and he really started this playing music as a DJ on these very beginning of the electronica and club music and house music. And he is an artist, Laurent Garnier. I've already talked about him in my Who Am I Knitting With series. I love him. I love what he does. He's done some very good albums. If you don't like electronica music and house music, you won't like what he's doing. But most of all, he has a very deep culture on all of these musics from the 80s now on and even before that, of course. And he has a collection of, I don't know what he said in his movie last year. I went to see his movie and he was there with a director, maybe 70,000 vinyl and CDs and stuff like that. So he has a huge collection. He's listening to a lot of music. And from last September, he's having a show in at a music radio in France, which is FIP, FIP, and you can listen to it online. And he has this show. I'm not sure I recall if it's the first or the last Saturday of the month for 2.5 hours between 10 p.m. and midnight. But of course, as it is a podcast, you can listen to it at another time. And he talks about, that's his podcast is Deep Search. And he's talking about all the new releases in this electronica world. And I can tell you there is a lot. And there is a lot I don't like. I don't like much rap. I don't like a lot of what he's having us listen on to that 2.5 hours per month. But I have to say that listening to him talking about the music is what I like, and why he likes this one and that one and everything, even if I don't. And I think it's part of our culture to listen to or read or watch things we don't really like. Culture is that, it's the whole. And he is the one who introduced me to Skin Shape. It's the last one. So he played one song and he talked about him, and I really liked that one song. So I went to listen to all of the other ones and I did buy the CDs. What I do is that I buy every CD that I like when I can find them. Sometimes I can't, because I say I have no ties with an online streaming service. And for now, I'm deep into the Apple realm, and I do like the sound of their devices. So this is why I'm keeping Apple. And I'm listening on to Apple Music, but it doesn't mean I will be listening on to Apple Music all the time. And I've been on Apple Music since it was iTunes, and I have a family account so that my children can listen to music legally too. And I have seen CDs that I have in my own collection disappear from Apple Music. So that's one reason why I buy things I like, because it can disappear from the streaming services. The second thing is that Apple Music also sometimes changes the file tags or stuff like that, or the CD tags, and it does exist, but in a different version. And this is not the version I have on the CD, and this is not the version that was released on the CD. So I'm okay with that. People do change and add things and stuff like that. I'm okay with that, but that's not the version I have. So at first I was quite unhappy with that, but I don't think any streaming device is better than any other one. So I'm following the artists on Bandcamp and on Discogy. And whenever I find something that I like, I buy the CD. I try to be reasonable. I don't have a mindful buy project for CDs, but maybe I should. Okay, when I'm talking about Laurent Garnier, another artist I discovered on one of his podcasts so I think he said it will last a year, so I guess for podcasts it's between September and June or July maybe. So I don't know if FIP is gonna be carrying on the show next year or not. But I did discover another artist, and I have only 2 CDs because the other ones are either non-existent, and his last album has not been released on CDs, or very, very, very expensive. So it's Layford James. So he's also an British artist, and his music style is a bit more difficult, into my opinion, to listen to. He's between jazz and electronica, and he's a singer too. And I don't think you can put him in any box. It's very particular. It's a calm music, and sometimes you have some little passages where it gets a bit more nervous, but not a lot. And I really was extremely impressed when I listened to what he has been doing. And his last album is not available as a CD. So these are the 2 ones that I could get. I got them as used ones, but they are in perfect condition. I'm saying also, for Skin Shape, a lot of them were also used ones in good conditions. So I usually buy used albums, and when they say that the CD is in mint condition, even if the sleeve is not in mint condition, I don't really care. But these also were used ones, and his last album is not on CD. He has a very beautiful voice. He leans towards jazz, but also electronica, and his last album is extremely beautiful. And I do think it's a more intellectual music, but it really talks to me. It may not talk to you, but it really talks to me. And it really helps me soothe my mind when I am knitting and when I am in need of pausing, self-reflecting, disconnecting from the the news, the new releases of any kind. When I want to pause, he does help me do that. Skin Shape is happy music. happy Sunday morning music that you can listen to and you don't think about much. And it's extremely good music. Lefford James, it's extremely good music too. A total different artist. And I really do appreciate what he's doing. When Laurent Garnier talked about him, it was late in the show, close to, I think it was the last music piece he played after it was, so it was midnight. And I did listen, on a Saturday night, I did listen to that show live. I usually am in bed way before midnight. But this show, I really liked it, so I started it. It was 10 o'clock. And I was thinking, I'll finish tomorrow or at a later time. And I kept listening to him, to Laurent Garnier, and his choices, and his editorial choices through the whole show up to midnight. And he finished with Lefford James, and I was completely mesmerized. And I wrote his name down, and as I could not understand what he was saying, I looked around and I finally found him. And I said, okay, I need to listen to him because I really enjoy his music. I did enjoy all of the albums that I listened to, I could listen to, and these are the only two ones I could buy as used ones. So there you have it. I listened to him online, and it was a very, very pleasant discovery. And I did think, where was I? Because I did not know any about Skin Shape and Lefford James that Laurent Garnier talked about. And I just really, really enjoyed discovering them. Okay, last artist, I promise. This was my youngest son Christmas present. This artist I did not know about is Nils Fram. Nils Fram is from Germany, and this album, there are 3 CDs, there are over 3 hours worth of recordings, music for animals. Nils Fram is making that type of music that, once again, it's even more difficult to listen to maybe than Lefford James. What my son says, it's drone music. If you are from the 70s, and if you've been listening to that kind of music from India or Tibetan music for relaxation or meditation, this music that has one note that is held for a very long time. It reminds me of that. And we had a very long talk last night with my son about all of that. And he showed me, he directed me at another, it's a French artist, and she's quite older now. I guess she's 90 or something. And that he has been discovering, and I haven't listened to what she's been, producing, so I can't recommend it to you. But I can't recommend Nils Fram, at least this album. I think I have listened to other of his albums. So drone music, where you have the whole music that is built around one note that is held a very long time. This is so soothing to my mind, my busy mind, my anxious mind, my mind thinking left, right, before, after, left, right. And this helps me focus on calming down. I'm not meditating with music. But I do some meditation, but I prefer guided meditation where someone is talking and saying, think about your skin, your head, your arms, and relax and stuff like that. It helps me more than music. But this one has been with me very, very often. And this type of music, he said, if you like it, I will, you know, offer more artists to listen to, because he's a lot into what he calls drone music. I think it's the English name for it. In French we have another name for it, but it's the English name for it. But anyway, that kind of very meditative music, not the one, that's what I said, not the one I'm going to be listening to in my car. When I'm in my car, I listen to Skin Shape and I enjoy very much. But during the evening, Nils Fram has been with me a lot of time. Not when I'm listening to Laurent Garnier and with his house music, with his high rhythm beats for, rave parties and that type of music. No. But I really enjoy that type of music when I want to focus a bit, concentrate a bit, calm down, knit in a calm environment so that I can focus onto my knitting. Because if you are knitting, listening to a podcast and maybe listening to a video, maybe listening to me, you are not concentrating and focusing as much, because there is that one thing that is going on to the video, something you have to look at. You have your knitting you have to look at, something you are listening to, and you have to follow what the person is saying, or what the show is saying, or what the movie is saying, so that you don't miss this and that, and then you have to go back because you have to go back. It's that way for you. You have to go back because you missed something and everything. This one, you can have the whole ambience. It's darker, you have soft lights, you have maybe your neck lights so that you can knit, and a very soothing, something you can listen to. So no ambience, I'm not sure. This is what I would say in French. I'm not sure this is what you would say in English. But a very soothing, sonor environment that you can listen to. And he said when he offered the CD to me, I'm not sure you're gonna like it, but you need to listen to it. And I did listen to it and I liked it a lot. And it did take more space after all of what is happening in the world. If I was not looking for some kind of meditative sounds so that to piece me out, to soothe me out, maybe I would not be listening to this one as much, but I am listening to it a lot. And I will go and listen to his other recommendation for this type of drone music. But I told him, well, when I was young, when I was your age or younger, he's 25, I was listening to some Tibetan meditation music that was doing exactly that. And I have to say I enjoy it a lot. Okay, next, a series, a TV series, a Apple TV Plus series. So if you don't have Apple TV, I'm not sure it's been aired elsewhere. It's Severance. So I'm very late to the party because I'm in the first season and I know that the second season is either going on or already finished. But it came up to my feed as a suggestion by Apple TV Plus. And I had seen it last year, but I was on to other things, so I did not pay attention to it. And I looked around and the reviews are very, very, very good. And I have to say it's a very, very, very good series. So don't spoil it to me because I'm in the first season. And it does echo a lot what's happening in the world. Not really on the political side, because it's more of a sci-fi type of series, but people get their brain changed by microchips and technology and whatever, so that when they are at home, they don't recall what they are doing when they are at work, and when they are at work, they don't recall what they are doing when they are in their home, in their private life. And it's very interesting. And I think it does echo a lot of what's happening right now when, no one has of yet, I think, or I don't know about, has a microchip, positioned into their brain for other reasons than medical reasons. I know that some diseases are treated that way, but for changing their personality and their perception of the world. But when you are prisoner of a social network that only gives you one echo chamber of the same thing, you don't need a microchip to change the way you are thinking of the world and living in it. And it does echo that part of what the world is today and how it is changing today on that respect. And I like it a lot. And the second, so I'm not going to be talking about it more because I'm so early in the season that I haven't, I'm in the middle of the first season or something, so I can't say more. But so far I've been liking a lot what I've been seeing. And I need to bring it up next because I don't recall the name of it. And okay, it's here. It's a podcast. It's an audio podcast. And also on Apple Podcast, but it came into my feed onto Apple TV Plus. I don't know, I made a cross post or something like that. And I did not know they were podcasts produced by Apple. I did not know that. Maybe I was living under my own little rock, but whatever. So I did listen to several of them. Most of them I did not really like. But this one, it's Undercover of Night. Night as in the King's Night, and it's the name of someone. And I have to say that this one has really caught my ears and my attention for several reasons. First, it's very well made, and I have to say that the other ones were very well made too, but I did not get interested into the story. Second, the story takes place in Texas with these southern accents that I'm not listening to any longer because I used to live in Atlanta, Georgia for 4 years. And I understand these accents and they sound like my time there. So even if the Texas accent is a bit different from the Georgia or Louisiana accent, I understand that, I get that. But it does sound like what was my time there at the time over 30 years ago. So that's one thing I like. The second thing I like is the story. It was completely unexpected the way the story goes from my first the first podcast. It's some kind of a true crime, but I don't think it's a true crime. It's a crime series. One lady, her name is Knight, was found dead, and things unravel around her death as the podcast goes on. And she was a British resident who was living in the US, in Texas. And people start to question why she was going there, and there are echoes on what's happened in the UK and a long time ago. In particular with what was happening in Ireland at the time. And we suspect, because I haven't listened to it as a whole. I haven't finished it, so I can't tell you. And I won't tell you, but there are some ties with what the Bloody Sunday, what happened at the time, and maybe they say she went to Texas because of that. And the story when she was killed was when I was, or close around the time I was in the US. So it does echo a lot of that. So sometimes it's a bit difficult to listen to because there are some interviews. So it's the person who is, or a group of person who is trying to understand what happened. Some interviews are made over the phone. So when the interviews are recorded as if people were in the same place, there is no too much problem for me to understand and follow everything. When the interviews are over the phone with a very deep southern accent, sometimes I have difficulties to understand what they are talking about. But anyway, that's the way it is. And I really enjoyed the story itself because every episode unravels a new thing, and you go deeper and deeper, and you discover relatives, and they have their own version of the story of what happened. And it's a very intricate story, and I like that. So I do recommend this podcast if it is available to you, and I will be exploring Apple Podcasts, the ones that are produced by Apple, a bit more because this one was interesting. I have to say that I listened to 3 more that were not of any interest to me. So I listened to the teaser or the trailer and the first episode, and some of them I did not even listen to the whole first episode. So, but that one is very interesting. So, yes, have a look at the podcasts produced by Apple that tell stories to you, and you have a lot of them on YouTube. And so I have to say I have a YouTube premium account, so I don't see the commercials and the ads because I really despise that. I hate that. And even more on audio podcasts. But when the podcaster has sponsorships and stuff like that and interrupts the video or the podcast to talk about their sponsor, I also really don't like it very much. So I know I'm paying for it, but there is no commercials, no ad on Apple Podcasts, and I do enjoy that a lot. Okay, next and last is a book I'm reading. So I'm not knitting while I'm reading, and I'm not listening to it as an audiobook because it did not exist in my library. It's a book that one of you, Caroline, recommended me, and the book is Nexus by Yuval Noah Harari. He is an Israeli historian and professor. His book has been deemed being one of the best of last year, and talks about the human societies and the impact of networks and now artificial intelligence, and I think it's extremely relevant to what we are living right now today, even though the book is maybe 6 months old or even a bit older than that. So when she recommended it to me, I was thinking, am I going to like that or not? And what happened is my library, my local library, I have one in my village, is a part of a network of libraries that are in my area. And when you are a member of your local library, it's a free membership because you live in that city where your library is covering, and if you are in the city nearby, and if there are agreements between the cities or the villages, then you can be a member of another one. But when you are a member of that library that belongs to a local network of libraries, you can borrow anything that is available in any other of the libraries. So there is a big one in the main city in Caen, near me, And also they now offer, or they are offering, they have been doing that for a long time, digital services. Thing is, when you borrow digital books from them, there are DRMs, because they don't want you to be, using the book longer than what they have the authorization to give it to you, because maybe they buy one digital copy, or the rights to one digital copy or two digital copies. So that means only two people at the same time can have the book, so they have to lock the EPUB files due to that. Anyway, it's a bit complicated for me to read on these ebooks, because I need a special app on my iPad and my phone and stuff like that. And because at some point I wanted to be buying an ebook reader, but I really did not want at first have an Amazon Kindle, and the Kobo are not that were not at the time that user friendly, so I just let it go by the wayside, this project. And I finally bought an iPad mini last year, and I'm reading books on the iPad mini, but I need another application. It doesn't go with the Apple application, the book application, because of the DRMs and etc. So it's a bit of a mess. But anyway, I did borrow that book and I'm reading it, and it's extremely interesting. So if you have the opportunity to borrow it from your local library, you don't have to buy it. Maybe you can have also, you can buy it online or a physical copy. But anyway, I am enjoying his analysis, and I think he gives you things to ponder and think about in a smart way, and I like that. And so I'm reading through the book, and I haven't read a lot of it. I'm maybe halfway or something like that. But anyway, I can't tell you the whole review for the whole thing, but so far I'm enjoying it, and he talks to you as if you were a very smart person, and I always like that, because I think it's very important for us to improve and as a whole. And if we always read things or listen to things that are our own level of understanding, how can we improve? So he's talking to me about things that some of them I do follow, some of them not, so I have to look about all of that. I'm enjoying that, but of course I'm not knitting at the same time, and there is no audiobook for that book. So anyway, that's the way it is, and also it's in French. I could not borrow a copy in English because my library doesn't carry it. So I will next time I go to the big library, I will ask if they can have copies in English. But so far I'm reading it in French, and I do enjoy what he talks about in a very smart and thoughtful manner. Okay, so that's gonna be it for today. I have talked about music, about podcast, about web series, about a book. I think that's a lot. And I've been here for over 4 hours recording, and I still have some work to do. So I'm gonna stop here. I won't record the third video I wanted to be recording today. That's gonna be for another day. So yes, I hope that what you are listening to when you are knitting brings you a calmer mind, helps you focus on your knitting and soothe your mind out. If you have any recommendation for music, for book, for series, or things like that, podcasts, please tell me down below. I also have a huge list of knitting videos to be watching. I had I'm having a lot of work, and I think up to Easter or Easter vacation, Easter break, it's gonna be like that. So I'm piling up and I'm increasing my playlists, my YouTube playlists about knitting videos that I want to listen to. So when I see one published, to the people I'm subscribed to, I place them in that playlist so that I can listen to it at a later time. But yes, these are but I have to say that I am mostly listening to music. This is why I have so much backlog of huge backup of knitting videos to be listening to. And also I haven't been talking about other things I'm also other music I'm listening to. So please tell me down below if you would like me to be talking about, because I think, skin shape is something that is an artist that most of you can agree you can like if you like that type of music. Niels Fram and Leffer James are, I think, more confidential and more radical and more difficult as a first step. But anyway, as I said, we need to listen to things we don't understand. We need to read things we don't understand so that we can process it and search for it and get more culture and stuff like that about it. So it's very important we do that, and we do that all together. I hope your knitting and your music time and what you're watching is soothing you out, and it gets, it helps you have a break from the news that are so stressful. And yes, I do hope that your knitting is bringing you joy and happiness, and what you're listening to while you knit is also bringing you joy and happiness, because it's not coming all by itself. We do have to work on that, in particular in this very strange world we are living in. And yes, I will be knitting with you tonight. I will be knitting with all of you, whatever time it is, whenever you are seeing this, you know that my time tonight, I will be knitting with you. I thank you a lot for being here with me, and I hope I will see you next time. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Top. In the UK. I have to check. Manchester, I think. Top. Okay, just as I was looking for it, it all came back to me. Yes, he played one title of his last album. I hope I'm showing you the right one, because if I'm not, I'm gonna be ridiculous. I don't know. When were you? I think it's the one. I will have to look at it online. When were you recorded? Well, yeah, that's the last one. So, okay, so that's gonna be it for today. I have talked about everything I wanted